Boop. That's how that song ends. Hi, everybody. Jump scare. It's me. It's time. We're here. We're queer. We're sad boys. Where's my chat? Come back to me, chat. Put this over here, and then put this here. Ooh, put this over here. I think Drea's $50 donation was from the end of last stream, so thank you. And Quantum Chaos donated, I think, while we were offline, but I'll go ahead and count that toward the day's total. Quantum Chaos with the $20 donut. Thank you. Said, sorry for your loss, Lux and fam. We will all miss seeing Mitternacht on the streams. He was a good Void boy. That's true. Low audio from Mike. Fucking kill me. Yeah. Actually, I think I figured out what it is that's been messing with my audio settings, and it's a fucking MetaQuest that I, like, borrowed from my partner one time. Okay, that's as boosted as it can go. I hope that it's better now, because fucking Christ, I hate this computer. Anyway. How's everybody? It's a day. I don't know. I feel like I started off the day pretty okay, and then I had some unanticipated trauma memories and some stuff that I hadn't thought about in exactly that context kind of thing. You know, loss makes you think of loss, you know? Not the comic from Control Alt Delete, but just when you lose something, you're like, "Oh man, remember the last time I lost something important to me?" And then you're like, "Damn, suddenly I'm thrown back almost 9 years ago, dealing with traumas that I didn't even realize I had in exactly that capacity." Oh my god, I need new glasses. Yeah, so if you hadn't heard already, Mitternacht passed away suddenly on Wednesday. So that's kind of what we're honoring currently. We don't know what it was. It was probably a sudden massive heart attack or maybe a stroke or something. But he was totally, totally fine. All the previous day, all of us in the house had trouble sleeping that night for various reasons. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, my younger sibling was like, "Oh yeah, I petted him and he was sitting in my lap and everything was great." And I got up to get water at 3 in the morning, and he was like, "What water you got? Let me smell it." So he was interested in what I was doing. And then my partner ended up getting out of bed a little while after that because I tried a new mattress topper and it's just not working for my partner at all. So I had to take it off the bed. But while he was like, "I'm just going to get up instead of dealing with being in bed and not able to sleep." And so he sat with Mitternacht for an hour or something in the middle of the night. And then at 5:30 in the morning, he comes back into the bedroom to get me, and he's like, "Mitternacht is gone." I'm like, "Okay, Jesus Christ." So apparently he howled a couple times, and then when Deegan got into the room, he was just dead. So something sudden, something probably pretty painful, but quick as far as we can tell. So yeah, I mean, that's a new thing that we're having to deal with. Traumatic a little bit. It's interesting too because I had just taken Mitternacht to the vet I think almost exactly 3 weeks before he died. I had taken him to the vet, and I had gotten all choked up at the vet because I had to put my cat Lucy to sleep, and he had heart failure. And I guess yeah, there was a lot going on at that time. So that's partially I think why I'm emotional today, is just thinking about and processing that loss. And so yeah, my most recent cat death reminds me of the previous cat death. And just the fact that I didn't have the emotional space to process that at the time, so it comes back feeling fresh. Everything sucks, basically. I dream about my past furlings. Yeah, I do too sometimes. Sometimes I'm even aware that oh, this is a cat that I had and is dead now. Um, it's funny how sometimes you can have those thoughts, but like also not realize that you're dreaming. And I've been so thirsty. I feel like I just can't retain fluids. Oh my gosh, this was right next to my tea, which was hot. So this is water with electrolyte juice in it, but it's also slightly warmed. I'm now, for all intents and purposes, I'm now a 3-beverage autistic. Right now I have this, my electrolyte water. I have an actual just like water with lemon, and then I have my my tea, which I got a sample pack of tea, and I'm keeping it a secret because I bought it from the Good Dot store, and I also bought my partner some of the coffee from the Good Dot store for his Christmas present. One of his Christmas presents, but it's a secret. But this one is, it's called Sweet Briar Botanical. Marshmallow root, honeybush, rose hips, lemon myrtle, raspberry leaf, elderberry, blue cornflower, pink peppercorn, natural flavor, caffeine free. It smells kind of like bubblegum. And I don't know if maybe that's where that's for the marshmallow root or natural flavor or something, but it's definitely got like a bubblegum kind of thing going on. What if your partner is watching? So he would sometimes watch. I guess most often was like when we didn't live together, and it was also usually toward the evening time when he had been drinking. So he doesn't hang out in my streams anymore. Yeah, those grief moments keep coming back and color the future ones. Yeah. And I have to say also that like I think I do more work than the average person on like anticipating grief. Oh, by the way, the donation goal for today is 250 instead of the usual like 100 because this is what it's going to cost to cremate him. I also just spent like $450 on like literally 3 weeks before he died. I took him to the vet. He got shots, he got tapeworm medicine, he got flea medicine. I bought him a prescription food. I bought him some kitty cat gabapentin, and I just have all this shit now. Some of it I can't get rid of. Like I cannot donate to gabapentin because it's a controlled substance. So I just like that's just trash. And I have to get in touch with the Humane Society and like donate the food and stuff that I can. I have like, I don't know. Anyway, so that's what the donations are going toward right now is paying for that. Oh my gosh, I was in the middle of saying something else and then I got off track because of I saw the donation goal thing pop up and I was like, oh wait, hold on. Yeah, those moments of grief keep coming back. And I like think about death in the now in a way that I feel like it helps me cope with it in the future. You know, I had the opportunity to kind of decide how to deal with grief when Unus Annus happened, because the whole point of Unus Annus, if you weren't around for it, was, yeah, we're making dumb bullshit videos, but also this whole thing is an art installation, and we're going to regularly remind you, like, we know how much time we have with Unus Annus. Like, the countdown is at the beginning and end of every video, and at the end of it, all you'll have are the memories. And so that's the kind of thing where you can translate it into other parts of your life where you go, you know, you don't know how much time you have left, but you do know that there is a limited amount of it. And do you feel like you're spending it in the best way you can? You know, are you spending it in a way where you're aware of how finite each moment is, right? And so when Unus Annus ended, and that was about 5 years ago now, just a little bit over 5 years, I was like, I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to help me decide how I'm gonna deal with grief in the future. And then Deegan the Mighty died 6 months after Unus Annus ended. Like, I think 6 months to the day after Unus Annus was deleted, Deegan the Mighty passed away from blood clots, basically. And I was glad that I had done some of the work beforehand to start like prepping myself. Like, you know, if I like press my face and the side of my head against the cat and you can hear their little tummy gurgles and stuff, and like reflecting on that in the moment as, this is like a precious, finite gift, and their lives are so much shorter. So, we invite this into our lives like every every 10 or 15 years or whatever. We're kind of bringing love into our lives and bringing grief into our lives. It's like interesting that we voluntarily do this. Yeah, so and the way that I kind of describe that as like is like I'm borrowing grief from the future to make it so that I'm not blindsided by it. And I guess this kind of comes from therapy too. Like, once upon a time when my therapist would say things like, so when you break up with this person, and it was important to her for me to be able to imagine what my life could be like after different forms of loss so that I wouldn't basically feel suicidal or hopeless or unable to imagine going forward. So yeah, that's kind of how I deal with this stuff. It's like the suddenness though, it's like you can feel like you're prepped for it, but it's still real sad. Like it doesn't stop being sad. Grief bursts can be brutal. I know I don't have to tell you, but feeling your feels and taking care of you are the best things. Yeah, I've already been doing a lot of somatic work, which is like I'm trying to exist in my body more because I've just been like unable to sleep the entire month of December. And it's getting a little bit better because I'm making a point to like, I'm almost entirely off social media, like not completely, but like almost completely because like I'll get on it for a short period of time and then be like, okay, this sucks. And like sometimes that means I'm playing games instead or I'm watching YouTube instead, but I'm trying to like, okay, I'll get up and go do something. And that means like stuff is getting done more and I'm existing in my body more and I'm like trying to stretch and trying to exercise and it's tough because I also have just like I'm a really anxious person and so sometimes existing in my body means that I feel my anxiety or my loneliness much more poignantly. But that's the part of the fucking point though is like the more you avoid your feelings, the more they just fill you up like poison, um, and make you unable to function. So either feel them now by feeling them and thinking about it and processing it and being in your body, or feel it later when your body decides to shut down, is kind of the lesson that I'm learning. Did something. I had a notification and then it went away. Did I just get a dono and I didn't hear it? Journaling is a big thing that I've been doing the last week or two as well that has helped. And like I've made the mistake before of trying to do journaling in a kind of structured way where I'm like, each time I journal, I'm going to answer these 3 questions, or I'm going to pull a tarot card and read the tarot card and reflect on its meaning and everything. And that's not exactly accomplishing what journaling, I think needs to accomplish for me, which is like unstructured, just get it out of your head. Like you just need to get it out of your head. Um, does YouTube take a big cut of super chats? They take somewhere between 30 to 40% of the super chats. So if you want to donate to me, I generally recommend doing it directly through the luxander.net/donate link because then it's only the PayPal fees. So it's a little bit better in terms of making sure your money doesn't go to a large corporation. Oh, damn. Well, I hope that things go well with you, Kitty. Stuff like development and stuff happening on your land, which is exciting, but it does mean you're going to be busy for a bit. So hope that everything goes well. Hope that your little one and your wife are doing good. Gathering up some of those moments and memories with a little one right now, that pre-grief feels like it helps to celebrate their life more. Yeah. I'm just annoyed with the fact that the dono, like, it dismissed itself. Like, why did it dismiss itself when the one from Drea, like, 2 weeks ago was still up on the top of the screen? Like, I don't know. It's fucking annoying. But anyway, thank you, Fuzzy. I also am trying to keep track of, like, how many I get so that I can add them to the total. Jeez. Anyway. Okay, $20 dono. Cool. At least that's the one that's showing up for me on my PayPal right now. I was journaling when I first started living in my car. It was important to say things and remember. I looked back at those pages. Damn, was I unstable and losing my mind. It made me grateful for the stability I now have. Journaling is good. Yeah. And it also is like, oh, okay, I can see what I'm thinking about, like, on a daily basis. Like, what is it that I'm struggling with and I feel the need to get out of my body. And what I've noticed over the last couple of weeks is I think about my disability a lot. I think about my limitations a lot. I think about what that can mean for my future a lot. I think about my abandonment trauma a lot. I'm feeling that pretty poignantly right now as well. Which is like kind of the stuff that I was thinking about earlier today. Like loss and abandonment, and you know, it makes sense that like I don't know, it's like some things in my life that I hadn't really thought about as abandonment. I'm like, oh no, that was abandonment. I like dealing with this constantly. So no wonder I'm all spun out all the time, feeling like the rock under my feet is unstable. You know, it's like, okay. So just getting it kind of out. I don't want to like continue talking to my friends about the same bullshit over and over again. So it's like journaling it. You can just put the same thing in there every day, more or less. I'm hoping you aren't too depressed right now. Yeah, I appreciate it. I was pretty depressed before, which is the difficult thing. It just feels like, you know, one punch after the other. Like you're on the floor reeling from the last punch, and then you stagger to your knees, and then you get punched again. Like you don't even get all the way to your feet. I don't think this is gonna be, well, I was gonna say I don't think that this loss is going to be as hard as some of my previous losses, because like, you know, Deegan the Mighty was the first cat that I've had in my vicinity and who I had lived with so long who had died, right? So like that was kind of a difficult experience. And he was my partner's, what is the term that people use nowadays? Your heart cat or your heart dog or your soul dog? There's like some term that people use on TikTok nowadays for your like the cat or dog that is your person. But anyway, it was like, so Deegan the Mighty was my partner's cat. And so like my grief was also like, I have to help my partner handle his grief. And like I was in therapy and he wasn't. So I had the skills to kind of help bring some of the intensity of that down. And I feel like I processed it pretty well. Like I feel like I do dream about Deegan the Mighty sometimes, but I don't have that like, I'm going to cry and it feels unresolved kind of grief.
DR Person Human has donated $50.
There we go. Okay, so I'm paying attention now. I understand. This is
cat.
Super quiet. Thank you, Dr. Person Human, with the $50 donation. That's very, very generous. Who says, cat, no, cat. True. That is how I felt also. So glad that we're in the same boat here. That brings us up to $90. Very generous. Thank you, everybody, for helping me pay for this cremation. I haven't gotten his ashes back. I'm going to get them. I'm basically going to have to go pick up his ashes on like Christmas Eve. If it's exactly 1 week, like the vet claimed it would be. So, yeah. I don't know what I was in the middle of saying. That's okay. One thing I find helps with stress is laughing at victimless stupidity. So if it helps, yesterday I drove 90 minutes to a store and realized I forgot my wallet at home. I had the flu and it melt brain. Yeah. It seems like a lot of people have a mysterious flu that is melting their brain. It's COVID. We were like talking to somebody. I had a cuz I wanna with Forrest this week, which was a lot of fun. And one of the dudes was like, he was like, I have a cold or something and I'm not thinking too good. I'm like, yeah, you have fucking COVID, dude. God damn it. But yes, I have been watching a lot of wholesome content lately. Like, if I'm watching anything, it's either I'm rewatching something or like I just watched Galaxy Quest last night because we're going to cover it on the Many Worlds Hypothesis podcast that has me and Demon Mama and Gayfesh on the Gayfesh YouTube channel. I got tested. I have H3N2, the subclade K flu virus that's killing everyone. Oh, cool. Yeah, well, I hope that doesn't happen to you. Yeah, it sucks that like the flu is now more deadly than it used to be because of the immune debt from repeat COVID infections. It's fucking bullshit. But what's up, Spider-Man? Are you a left anarchist? Do you support the phrase "no gods, no masters," which is a left anarchist phrase? I find that it's difficult to have these kind of conversations when there seems to be so much disagreement about the word's meaning. So like especially between like the terms socialist, communist, and anarchist, I think that there's a lot of confusion there. And my understanding of those terms is pretty intuitive. Like it's like my understanding of those terms is kind of based in a couple of examples and like some general loose knowledge, but I'm not like, I'm not like reading, like I own some leftist anarchist material that I haven't necessarily read all the way through. So like the picky differences between those terms. So sometimes I find it more useful to talk about like the material impact or like what kind of life we want to live. Like I want to live in a community of people who have each other's backs, who don't leave people out because of their race or their gender or their sexual orientation or whatever. I want to have a locally minded economy. I think that, we need to cut back on our oil. I think we need to have walkable neighborhoods. I think we need to have a strong social safety net. I think that people need to be involved in their local governments and local communities. That is kind of how I imagine like how an anarchist would live. Like an anarchist lives in commitment to their community. So if that is how you would define it, then yeah. How is DM these days? She's doing good. She's learning some coding stuff, and she's tinkering with like making video games and getting back into writing. So she's doing good. I don't want to like say too much for her, but she's doing good. I will not cut back on olive oil. Listen, I refuse to take the olive oil away from you. Oh no, I have entered my true crime and horrific historical tragedy phase. Bring on the survival cannibalism. Oh boy. I'm all about community. It's so important to get involved in your local community however you can. Yeah. One of my goals for this upcoming year is to get to a place where I like where I feel physically well enough that I can more easily participate in community and not feel like I have like this unpredictable, like, am I going to crash out afterwards or am I going to feel sick while I'm out and about kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of like one of my main problems right now is like feeling super disabled. Like my partner wanted to go for a walk last night and I was like, a little bit concerned because he walks faster than I do. Like, he's got long leggies and he walks faster. So I was like, are you going to walk slow enough that I can walk with you? And it ended up being okay. I felt like it was challenging and it maybe was too much. Like, maybe I shouldn't have gone for such a long walk, but I ended up feeling okay. And like, I cooled down appropriately afterwards. I don't feel like I'm having a major crash today. So yeah, that is something that is quite important to me right now. Getting my health back. Getting my health back, period. I was trying to say getting my health back, like, under control or something, but yeah. I would like to be a functional human person again. The guy who had a cold on Cause I Wanna would not slow down to explain a single thing. It was so frustrating. Dude, I'm like, legitimately, if he had slowed down and been like, okay, so what this thing is these things interacting with these things or whatever, I would have been like, cool, thank you for the explanation. But he was like, here's a bunch of jargon and like very specific academic terms that you don't know. And I'm like, okay. Like, I didn't go to college really at all. I went to technical school for 2 semesters. Forrest is a biologist. Like, neither of us has a philosophy degree, so I don't know what you want from me here. That's a name that is hard for me to read. Chichi Castanango. How can the medical community support those who detransition without using their experiences to invalidate the identity of those for whom transition was life-saving? I don't think that our needs are different enough for us to be pitted against one another in that way, if that makes any sense. Like, whoop.
Phonomakes has donated $20. Less than 3.
Thank you for your less than 3 $20 donation, Phonomakes. That's a cool name. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It makes things easier for me. Like, and also, like, I don't want to hammer on this money thing too much, but it's fucking Christmas. And I did and do have money to spend for Christmas. Like, I'm not even, I'm gonna, like, buy the food for Christmas Day. So I'm, like, not even done with all that. I did my stocking shopping this weekend. I think I've basically bought all the gifts that I'm gonna buy. But, yeah, I was like, what a shit time of year to have your cat die. And it's weird, too, because this is the only time I've had a cat pass away, and then there's no other cat, right? So I'm like, I guess, like I'm gonna put away the water bowl completely, put away the cat box completely, like, entire parts of my home that are dedicated to having a cat there, because I'm not ready to get another one. I, like, looked at the Humane Society website for a little bit this week, and I was, like, crying. So I'm like, nope, we're not ready to take that step right now. But anyway, back to the question of, I just think that, like, so people who detransition, like, it's such a small portion of the trans community, and those who detransition often go on to retransition. But, like, I really am frustrated by the fact that detransitioners don't find companionship in the trans communities that feel the same way that they do, right? So, like, I'll give an example because I feel like that's kind of hard to understand. So let's say someone is assigned female at birth. Like, remember Casey, the detrans person that, like, had a bunch of insane takes a few years ago? So that person was assigned female at birth and transitioned to a man and, like, started to go bald and all this kind of stuff, and then they decided to detransition. So instead, so they were like, I think no one should have access to this care, and all of this is irreversible, and my life is over, and I'll never get this back, and da-da-da-da-da-da, okay? Why do that rather than, like, find community amongst trans women who are experiencing the same type of dysphoria, right? So, like, detrans people, so, like, yeah, like, okay, you started to lose your hair. That fucking sucks. Guess who also deals with that? Trans women. So why don't you go ask them, what do they do to deal? Or what medicines do they take? Or what treatments do they do? Or what styles do they wear their hair? that makes it less noticeable or whatever. And so it's like, that's the thing that I find frustrating about detransitioners who weaponize that experience. And as far as like the medical community, just, of course, I don't think that there should be private insurance, but so long as there is private insurance, then private insurance should cover gender affirming care, period, including detransition care. Like, that's not hard. We're getting a lot of really interesting rando questions today, which is fascinating. How many people are here right now? 53. Oh my goodness. Thank you for hanging out. 53 people. I did not notice that there were that many people here. YouTube chat has a lot of randos in it today. Why is there a statistically significant overlap between gender dysphoria and autism/ADHD, and how should that affect clinical approaches to transition? My personal opinion, and I don't know if this is bearing out in the research yet. It's something that we still need to study and explore. I think that it basically is just that, like, autistic people do not care about rules that don't make sense. We do not want to follow guidelines because like, but once we understand the reason, if we think it's a good reason for the rule to be in place, you will find us rigid on those rules, right? Which is why sometimes autistic people are considered like morally inflexible. So I just think that autistic people or neurodivergent people or ADHD, whatever, we just fundamentally start with this, like, I don't really care.
Psychoplebalian has donated $20. Sorry for your lost Lux. My mom recently got a Russian blue cat. When I first saw him, I started crying with joy. Knowing that I'd have to take care of him and that he's my furry brother, I love him.
Good. I like other people having cats. It's very nice. I look forward to healing enough to feel like I can get another cat. But in the meantime, thank you for your donation. I hope that you're doing well. I know that you have had some ups and downs lately as well. So hopefully everything's good. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I think that autistic people and neurodivergent people just don't adhere to the same kind of rigid rules about like social pressures and everything. So I think it's basically like, if you're autistic and you think that the rules of gender are stupid and you feel an incongruence or a feeling like you would be happier in a different gender, like, I think that autistic people are just less subject to peer pressure. So neurotypical people are like, they will continue doing things that make themselves deeply unhappy for the sake of adhering to the social system. Autistics just don't fucking care. So we will do things that subvert the social systems. And we could study things like alternative cultures. So like, are there more autistic people in subcultures that are unpopular? I would guess probably yes, because autistic people are just less likely to give a shit about not fitting in because they already don't fit in. So that's my opinion. And I don't, how does that affect clinical approaches to transition? It shouldn't have, like, my objective for the clinical approach to transition is just fucking let people get what they want. If I can go in and say, I want you to put me on an estrogen pill for birth control, and they'll just give it to me. They don't do any blood tests. They don't like check on most of your other health markers. They're just like, okay, I'll give it to you. And then you just have hormones, right? Like, why would it be any different for transition care? I don't fucking understand. So anyway. Hot take, some autistic people are morally inflexible, and that's mistaken for a strong sense of justice. Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't probably use the term morally inflexible because honestly, I think that makes it seem like a bad thing.
7621 has donated $5. 0.
Thank you. no message, but thank you for the $5 donation. I really appreciate it. It's very, very, very kind of you. Um, I don't, yeah, I think that describing autistic people as morally inflexible, like, um, I think so the when like the studies that they've done that make that conclusion, the way that those studies are set up, or maybe I'm just thinking of one particular study. I'm not trying to act like I know exactly what I'm talking about, but my understanding is that what they did was they studied like neurodivergent and neurotypical people and like whether they would do something immoral for personal gain. Neurotypical people were more likely to do something immoral for personal gain, whereas the autistic cohort was like, I would not do that immoral thing for personal gain. And that has now come out in this portrayal of autistics as morally inflexible. And it's like, actually, what you've just told me, what I heard is that autistic people are morally superior because they don't set aside their feeling of right and wrong in order to gain personally. So that's my understanding of like why, like where that idea even comes from is like autistics are not likely to renege on their deep sense of right and wrong just because it might benefit them to do that. You know, like I've thought this so many times, like my life would be so much easier if I were a detransitioner. Like I could make so much money. My partner and I have said for years, like, isn't it too bad we have morals because we could be televangelists and make all this money taking advantage of people, but we have like a moral code that won't allow it. And so we suffer in that way. Where like, you know, if you're cutthroat and you get that promotion, then you get ahead, right? And that's why only the worst possible people become billionaires. I guess I'm not sure what you're talking about at all then, Em. Why do you not have to do chores when you're sick? What are you talking about? Legitimately, there have been like 3 or 4 different accounts that I have never seen before asking random questions. Hello, Gayfesh. Yeah, it's a sad week. Um, Scotty wants to know about being trans as an innate neurological brain sex reality or a response to the social constructs of gender roles. Literally everything is both. Like, literally every human behavior is some combination of an innate neurological phenomenon and a psychosocial phenomenon. Like, they're like nature versus nurture is a false dichotomy. Everything is both. Because, right, like, let's say, for example, that trans people are trans because of like different amounts of hormones in the body during different parts of their parents' pregnancy, right? So like if like let's say my mom has PCOS, um and so she has a higher level of testosterone. I don't actually know if she was ever diagnosed with it, but it seems likely. Um so let's say my mom has PCOS, so she has higher testosterone. So when I was being gestated, then there was more testosterone in her body when I was developing my brain. So even though I'm phenotypically female, to as far as I know, or possibly intersex, I'm looking into that. And you bet if I get diagnosed with PCOS this year, I'm not going to shut the fuck up about being intersex. Never, ever, ever gonna stop talking about it. Um, but so I'm phenotypically, you know, it seems like I have a uterus, but I'm trans, and so maybe my brain had more testosterone during that pivotal time of developing my sense of my body. But that's environmental. That's environmental affecting my biology. Like the environment of the womb impacts my biology. So like I just think that it's really silly to act like they're different things. Mm. Okay, let me add this $5. I didn't add this $5. $135 today out of the goal of $250 to pay for the boys' cremation. Not to make everybody sad, but so this is a thing that I start. I like will start this collection like way before I think my animal's gonna die. So I've been picking up his whisker sheds for a bit. I have like some of his whisker sheds in here and some of his claw sheds in here. And I did cut off a little bit of his hair when he passed. I'm also going to get a box with his ashes. But I like to do things like make a spell bottle. Like on the 1 year anniversary of Lucifer passing, this is one of his bottles of insulin, an empty bottle of insulin because he was diabetic. And I put in here rosemary, thyme, cinnamon, and his the whisker sheds and claw sheds that I had kept. Like I said, I had started one of these little collection bags. And yeah. So, oh, and some catnip, I think. So, this is like my little remembrance spell bottle anniversary thing for Lucy. And I imagine I'll make something similar for Mitternacht. My hair got stuck on something. What is my hair stuck on? Get out of there. Nature versus nurture is like the surface level XX versus XY classification that people don't want to go deeper on. Everything is incredibly complicated and affected or affects other things. Yes, truly. Like, I never even thought about the dark black whiskers of a void kitty. My cats are patchy, tabby, and have transparent whiskers. Oh, that's interesting. Transparent whiskers. I think I've only ever had cats with either white or black whiskers. That's cute. I also do have a white whisker of his, I think on my bedside table. So I'll need to go pick that up and add it because he was getting old. He had a lot of white whiskers. Excuse me. No, Psychoplebalian. I didn't. My partner. That's the kind of thing that he steps in for. He was like, he was on the floor when he passed, like just on his side. So we sat with him for a few and then, moved him into a box that we like lined the bottom of it with a trash bag because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. So we had to wait for the vet to open. But yeah, my partner takes on those kind of things usually where like I take on the logistics. Like I have to call the vet and I pay for things and I do the physical, like let's coordinate and I'm going to go pick up his ashes and all this kind of stuff. And my partner usually takes on the kind of more like, grounded aspects, like picking up the box and bringing it to the car and carrying him into the vet and that kind of thing. So that's how we usually split that stuff. And it's hard, dude, doing the logistics stuff of like, I have to make a phone call and try not to cry on the phone call. And then like turn, like as soon as we like got done at the vet and I got in my car and I was like, oh my God, I have to drive now. Like I was like, I can feel that I'm about to cry, but I'm supposed to be about to drive. And he was like, you can take a minute. And I was like, for a few. And then we drove home. Will you give the urn a place of honor in the house? I'm certain that we will. Well, I am more motivated to do those kind of things. Like, I don't even know where Deegan the Mighty's ashes are. That was Lucy's brother. It's so weird to me that like I started my YouTube career after Deegan the Mighty had died. Well, I had been making YouTube videos, but like as far as being a full-time streamer and everything, that you guys don't even know Deegan the Mighty is just so weird. But yeah, so what was I in the middle of saying? Yeah, so I don't actually know where Deegan the Mighty's ashes are right now because those belong to my partner and he doesn't handle grief in the same way that I do. But I have my altar where I like rotate things out seasonally and it's like a place of like contemplation. and Lucy has his place on my altar. And so I imagine that we'll do something like that. If Deegan doesn't have a strong opinion about it, then it's likely that Mitternacht's ashes will just be where Lucy's ashes are, just on my table. Sorry you lost your floof. Glad you gave him so much love. He knew love because of you all. Yeah, I feel relatively uncomplicated about how well I was taking care of him. Like, I feel complicated about Deegan and Lucy because, like, I was trying to get them to lose weight, but I had dramatically misread the cat food, and so I was really underfeeding them. So I feel bad. I feel like Deegan the Mighty probably died, like, hungry, and I feel bad about that. Or, like, Lucy, I think, had heart failure because he had lost a bunch of weight from diabetes, and I just didn't notice for a really long time until he started acting like he was going to die. And then I got him diagnosed and started treating him for diabetes, and he got better, but then he got heart failure. So I'm like, I feel a personal responsibility that I failed in that way. But for Mitternacht, it's like, oh yeah, we could have tried to get him to lose weight sooner, and oh, he had arthritis, but he was still, like, relatively happy, even though he was having a harder time getting around. I feel bad that I didn't give him, like, the opportunity to have, like, oh, your knees feel better now, because we had just started a pretty aggressive, like, let's start treating this arthritis. And it's like the loss of potential there, where I was like, hey, I'm going to give him some really good sunset years, thinking that his sunset years were going to be like the next 3 years and not like the next 3 weeks. So, but that's 3 of my cats, 100% of them having passed from cardiovascular. So, like, Deegan the Mighty got a blood clot and he died from that. Well, we put him to sleep, but he would have died from it. Like, Lucy died from heart failure. Mitternacht probably either a heart attack or a stroke. So, yeah. But that's also, like, the number one way that humans die. So, like, at least it wasn't, like, kidney disease or something, I guess. Like, I don't know. It was relatively quick for all of them. Losing a pet is awful. I wish I had good words for this situation, but all I can say is I know it sucks and we're here with you. Yeah, pretty much. Like, not a lot else you can do. Just like, gotta process your grief and remember that, like, you gotta tell people you love one, like, that you love them. You gotta be good to people on a regular basis. That's the thing. Like, you can't forget that life is short, for them especially. I can tell you, as someone who once spent several years sleeping with a vet tech, they are used to people crying on those phone calls. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's like, okay, you guys would probably be okay with it if I were crying currently, but I still feel a desire to manage myself to not cry openly on the internet. So it's a similar thing. Like, I'm gonna be restrained in my reactions around people, right? It's like my avoidance or something, probably. Those weren't all in the house you currently live in. Well, that would be pretty difficult, Fuzzy Logic, because I moved from 2,000 miles away. No, it was 3 different homes. And it was probably more like what we were feeding them. Like, maybe we didn't feed them high quality cat food or something. Or, like, I don't know. Or, like, Lucy... I mean, Lucy's heart failure was probably a direct result from him being diabetic. So chalking that up to cardiovascular might not be entirely accurate. Anyway. I felt bad when I lost my service dog to Wobbler syndrome and not being able to fix him or get him what he needed. Hugs and solidarity. I mean, honestly, that's something that plagues every one of these deaths, is that like, oh, I would have gotten them care if it weren't so fucking expensive. Or like maybe, if I could have afforded to go to a better vet who would have done more comprehensive care or something. Like with Lucy, like there is every possibility that I could have saved him and gotten another year with him, another healthy year with him on heart medication. But like, did I have $1,000 to spend on having the fluids drained from his lungs? Like, no. And I also didn't know at the time that like, I was like, I can't give him a pill every day on top of giving him a diabetes like injection twice a day. Like that felt like, oh, I'm going to ruin my relationship with him if I have to force him to take a pill every day. I didn't know that they make treats that you can hide pills in. And also, nobody fucking told me that, but I still didn't have $1,000. And that was on top of the like $600 I had already spent on imaging to like have the vet look at his body. Yeah. So like the fact that we put off not only our own health care, but we also put off pet care and veterinary care. It's bullshit. Electrolyte water. It's not good. Oh, that was the stuff at the very bottom. Blah, blah, blah. As someone who cries easily, there's a bit of relatability with someone when someone cries openly. I know. But also, okay, so this is like, I guess kind of funny, but it's kind of an aside. I don't breathe very well through my nose. So if I'm crying, that like there's more stuff in my nose and then there's like inflammation, I think. And so I just can't fucking breathe. And it's an issue when I'm trying to eat sometimes, where I'm like trying to eat, but my nose is like like you can see it flattening as it's like breathing through a straw. It fucking sucks. So sometimes when I'm eating, I have to like stop eating and go like and get like some actual breaths in. It's fucking irritating. So yeah, if I cry, I also am like, oh, I can't breathe through my nose now. Never give dry food to cats, period. There are zero benefits to it. Okay, well, the cat that I just had who died wouldn't eat wet food. So much like not talking shit on baby formula, like, let's not act like dry food has zero nutritional benefit. Like, I did just buy him a dry food that he loved. He was insane for this new dry food because it's like, it was a special like weight loss food or something. Crying with the deviated septum is a terrible addition to dealing with the emotions. Feel you there. Truly, yeah. And like, God forbid I cry before I need to go to sleep at night, because then I'm like, mouth breathe all night long. Found out that a different food bowl would have likely made my last fur baby's life easier. Turns out the food bowl can affect how they digest. It's like, yeah, it's better when it's like a little bit elevated off the ground, right? I did get them some ones that it's probably not like high enough, but. And I know with older animals, cats and dogs, they recommend raising the food bowl up a couple inches as well. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Ah! It initially opens up and everything is nice, and then it seals up even worse than before. Yeah. This is one of the things that I'm hoping to address this year with like getting health insurance, which somebody tell me, have anybody gotten health insurance on the marketplace? And like, I went to go pay for my first month's premium, but the insurance company was like, oh, because it's your first month, we can't accept payment online, so we'll send you something in the mail. And I was like, okay, so I'm like waiting to maybe get something in the mail from them. And I hope that the fact that it's after December 15th doesn't mean that, like, I mean, I guess it wouldn't matter that much if my coverage doesn't start until January 15th because I'm not going to the fucking doctor right after Christmas anyway. I asked my vet about those alternative, like human diets for my dogs, but she told me the dry food is fine, especially since it's a special diet for their issues. Yeah, it's a it's like specially formulated, right? Like cats have cats and dogs, they have like specific like dietary needs, and while, it is good to get those from whole foods, it's also like, yeah, they just have a dry food and it smells good. Um like, yeah. And like, listen, Mitternacht drank a shit ton of water. It's like, it's one of the weirdest things about having him gone is that he would smack his water bowl around and spill water all over the floor, and he would go drink, like, god, like all day long. Anytime he got overstimulated, he was like, I'm gonna go drink water. So I wasn't worried about his kidney function either. Your mattress thingy didn't work out. I think you should do the King of the Hill thing and have two side by side mini beds instead of one big one. That might be in the cards in the future. It's definitely not something we can afford right now, but possibly in the future. I'm having this horrible thing where I am trying to drink enough fluids for me to not feel parched, but I'm like not really retaining a lot of those fluids, so I need to pee. So I'll be back, and that'll just be a minute. Okay. Thanks for being patient with me. Appreciate you guys. Have to get some salt as well. The Void Kitty will be missed. Sorry for your loss. Yeah, thank you. I think needing to pee a lot is a sign of diabetes or dehydration. Yeah, that's true. That's why I want to get some high quality medical care this year, is that, like, I mean, peeing a lot and being thirsty are also symptoms of POTS, but they are symptoms of diabetes. I got some blood work. I think I got blood work like last summer, and it didn't show anything alarming as far as pre-diabetes, but with the possibility that I have PCOS, it's already like a lot of these things can happen together. So PCOS often also has like insulin resistance, and insulin resistance is pre-diabetes, which can develop into diabetes. And I do have a family history of developing diabetes and then getting it back under control in a way where you don't technically count as diabetic anymore. So that's one of the many things on my list that I'm going to get checked out. I like genuinely, I'm so worried because I have been navigating this health stuff with relatively little support for several years, and therefore I've had to do a lot of my own research. And I'm so worried that I'm about to start trying to get medical care, and they're going to be like, Dr. Google doesn't know anything, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to be like, okay, well, then, like, run the full gamut of tests. I already had my thyroid checked 11 years ago, but let's fucking do it again. Like, I don't know. I'm just ready to have to be a massive asshole in order to get my healthcare, but I'm hoping that, it's not as much of a battle as I expect it to be. I just feel like I've been really lucky in that prior to this, where I'm mostly just like, they address my concerns and it's fine, you know? Casio, I'm gonna, with more restraint than I think this comment really deserves, I'm gonna tell you, if you try to give your cat a food that they will not eat, like how my cat would not eat wet food, if they don't eat for 2 days, they can go into severe liver toxicity and just die. So it is wildly irresponsible for you to just say, like, whatever, if your cat starves for a while because they won't eat it. That's not how it fucking works. It's like having a kid with ARFID. You can't just force them to eat food. They won't do it, or they will do it and then they'll throw up. Like, they will starve themselves. It is dangerous to say that. It is preferable to feed them wet food, but it's also more expensive. It's worse for the environment because you're creating all this individual packaged waste. Like, and some people's cats just won't eat it. So you can say it's preferable, but you need to really back the fuck off of that whole, oh, if they starve for a while, whatever, they'll figure it out. No, they won't. That's not how cats work. Chill. Okay? I'm trying to maintain my chill today. Oh, it's fun how you can just claim that, and like, none of my cats had kidney problems. All of my cats lived to be like 11, 12, 15 years old, and they never had kidney problems. They were male cats who didn't have kidney problems. Yes, it is preferable to feed cats wet food. That doesn't mean don't ever do it or there's zero benefit. God, the black and white thinking is fucking crazy right now. As someone who has met someone with high support needs, autism, and ARFID, and who also has a cat, yes, I agree with Lux. Yeah, it's you can't just like expect them to, and like, yeah, maybe that was the fault of whoever I got the cat from, who only fed it dry food, and so the cat now doesn't know that wet food is food. Like, whatever, but still. Faulty was like, with my mental health and getting it cared for, I started out by saying, I have a good idea of what this is, but here's my list of symptoms and some data from the last few years, which seem to weed out the shitty doctors who will brush you off. Yeah. I guess that's the best way to do, is like go in and be like, okay, I have had these like complex symptoms. They're unpredictable. And in my opinion, it seems like they might fit into a couple of these categories. And so there are some specific tests that I would like to do to try to see, what is going on. Like, if I say, like, I have episodes of shortness of breath and like lightheadedness, and I feel like I'm very thirsty, but I also pee a lot. And I have fatigue, and I have like muscle pain around my body randomly, especially random chest pain. I have like difficulty standing up. Like, I feel like they would be able to go like, okay, cool, let's do a tilt table test. Like, please, thank you. Okay. But who the fuck knows? Maybe you can find a doctor that wants to nerd out when you mention anything you looked up. Instead of pushing back, they go on like Forrest does about biology. I mean, that would be ideal. Oh my God, guys. It was very funny to me on Fridays because I wanna where I hosted with Forrest during the super chats. Somebody had sent in a zebra emoji, and I was like, "Did you know that people with EDS are called zebras because of the stretch marks all over?" And he was like, "Because of the collagen breakdown." And I was like, the fact that you just said that with that smile, but I think it was like I think it's more of a like Forrest loves learning things and he hadn't ever thought about that before. So he's like, oh yeah, EDS with the collagen breaking down, you would have stretch marks all over. And but I just thought it was really funny because like well, you just vaguely saying like because of the collagen breakdown, and I'm like, you are taking joy in my systemic suffering. Like I just thought it was very funny. Mm. I do cook my dog's food, but my cats won't eat the home cooking. They love their food. We give them the wet with their dry, but they eat well and are healthy. Yeah, a good mix. Just gotta try to hit all the different things. And I'm like, if I get another cat someday, the idea will be ideally to feed them the best quality food I can. Um, and this is another one of those intersections where I do think there's nuance. But I've seen people say stuff like, you don't have a pet if you're poor. Like you shouldn't have pets if you're poor. And I'm like, yeah, yes, I lament that I wasn't able to provide my cats with as much care as I had hoped because I often couldn't afford it. But like the alternative is the cat being a stray or the cat being euthanized or the cat dying out in the woods. Like I don't think that it's necessarily fair to say like if you're poor you don't deserve the companionship. And like sometimes it does mean that maybe the best you can afford is dry food. Like the best you can do is like you can't necessarily get like a fountain with filters on it for their water. Maybe you have to pull their bowl every day and wash it. And maybe you can't afford them to get annual blood work, but you maybe do it like every 3 years and that's better than nothing. Casio, I'm gonna need you to pull back. Everybody's getting real upset. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to pull back. There are benefits to certain formulations of dry food. Like, it's just crazy for you to be like, there are zero benefits to dry food. Like, a cat being fed and happy is a benefit. We literally all make health trade-offs. Like I don't like there are zero benefits to eating McDonald's, but have you completely cut out McDonald's from your diet or pick any other fast food place? Like it's like it really comes across as like moral grandstanding, Casio. Like I don't know if maybe you just aren't aware, but it really does come across like you just are like you feel like morally superior about this issue and you're lecturing everybody. Have you ever seen an endocrinologist? I would maybe try to see one if I haven't. I had endocrine cancer and some of those symptoms you described. Yeah, that's why I have a lot of health anxiety is because I'm constantly like, well, I hope I don't have fucking cancer. Um but like I I don't know. Yes, I'm going to get it looked at. Please don't fucking put cancer in my mind right now. I'm going to actually get really upset. Like I had like that 1 week where I was really tired this month and people were like, "Do you have narcolepsy?" And I'm like, "Don't put that on me. It's not cool. Like that's a very serious illness. Cancer is a very serious illness. Don't put that on me right now. I can't fucking check anything for several more weeks. So don't do that." stopping by to say like. F for Mitter, love the fresh shave. Thank you. Yes, I feel better. Yes, those symptoms can be any number of things. Yes. And I have like a mole on my body that appeared in 2024, but it mostly hasn't changed, but it did recently change a little bit. So plus, like, trust me that cancer's already on the mind. As a person with doctor in their name, I think you don't have cancer. You obviously have scurvy. My partner just made a joke about scurvy to me recently, and I was like, I actually don't think it's possible for me to have scurvy because literally every cup of water I drink has lemon in it. Which in and of itself is not good for my teeth, you know? It's like, those are the health trade-offs. Maybe you have ligma. Ah! Got him. Oh, jeez. The joy of solving puzzles and making those connections strikes at some truly inopportune times. I don't know what exactly that is a reference to, Faulty, but it reminds me that I just... there was a game on my wish list that went on sale for like $3, and I went ahead and splurged and bought myself a couple games on the winter sale on Steam, and one of them was called Strange Horticulture. Yeah, Strange Horticulture. And it's like a little puzzle game with like it's like a story-based thing. It's got Papers, Please vibes a little bit. But you have to like identify plants, not any real plants, I don't think. And then like there's a supernatural thing going on and people come to you and they ask for things and you keep giving them like what they ask for. Like there's like a demon that has been summoned and is killing people and you have to help like defeat it by combining the herbs into a special ritual or something. It's very cool. I've been enjoying it. I'm about to wring it for all it's worth. Like, I did already finish the game once, and it's a game that has multiple different endings. So I'm gonna look forward to playing more of it. Yes, glory to Arstatska. Arstatska, what is it? What did Sean used to say? Like, Arstatska glory proud or something like that? Wah, 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 dun dun dun. Wah, wah, wah. The main theme music on the title screen. Oh, the joy of solving puzzles and making those connections in reference to Forrest's joy at the zebra moniker. Yeah. I do think he was just like, oh, I hadn't thought about that before. That makes perfect sense. And I was just like, you fucking nerd. Oh, I enjoy pretty much all of the people who work at the line. And that's really, it's good. It's a good workplace culture when you're like, all of these people I'm like, I want to be at least a little bit friends with most of them, you know? So, that's cool. Ghost Pepper Lollipop. Well, have a good rest of your day. It's probably not lupus. It's never lupus. But it might be autoimmune. Like I think I might have some symptoms of mast cell activation. Like I get like a rash on my arms sometimes after a hot shower, and like some of the like bloating and like inflammation in my face and stuff could be because of functionally allergies. But yeah, this is the year of me getting fucking answers. You know, I'm so tired of this, like, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, da-da-da. I'm gonna get some tests. We're gonna get genetic testing, find out if I have EDS. We're gonna do a tilt table test. We're gonna do whatever is needed to blood test for MCAS. We're gonna get tested for PCOS. Like, we're just gonna fucking do all of those things. I feel grateful that I can finally afford that. That's like the tricky thing. Speaking of being able to afford things, did you notice that I've been drinking out of this hashtag Team Lux mug? I haven't really like plugged it. They're not available yet. I think they're going to be available starting like Christmas Day. But this is a thing that we do on the line for like in the wintertime, ad revenue declines, like views decline. People are spending more time away from the computer. They're at home. It's you would think it's the opposite. You would assume, or at least I would have assumed, that you get more YouTube traffic when people are not at work or whatever. Um, but in fact, it is the opposite. YouTube is you get the most views during the workday.
Malo_all has donated $5 for the home emitter less than 3.
Thank you very much. I think that's Melatonale, I'm guessing, with the $5 dono. Thank you very, very, very much. Y'all have been very generous today. Y'all have been very kind today. It does make it a little bit better knowing that there was like a whole community of people who loved him, right? That like, that's something that I've always thought is kind of interesting, like about grief and how personal it is. That like when someone you know dies, it's like other people, unless they've experienced the same kind of loss, they cannot really empathize with you or understand. And how it feels so like the world keeps turning even when you are spiraling out in your grief, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I just find it really interesting. Kind of got distracted for a second there. But anyway, sorry. You would expect that people are mostly watching YouTube when they're not at home, or sorry, when they are at home, but they actually mostly watch it while they're at school or at work. So we lose revenue over the winter, and we do the mug brawl contest to just kind of help boost our income over the winter, because everybody still needs to get paid. And we're hoping to get paid like around the same amount and not have everybody in the company like lose money immediately around Christmas and the New Year. So mug contest. Each host gets a mug. This is mine that Arden designed for me. It's got like I think it's actually, yeah, it's got like a little color gradient. Hashtag Team Lux. I just said, let's do hashtag Team Lux, and she decided to do the design. And I thought it's really cool, and it's on both sides. And they're gonna drop, I think Christmas Day or maybe Christmas Eve is when Jimmy's gonna make them public. He said that he was going to make them available to patrons beforehand. So if you're a patron on patreon.com/calltheline, you could get access to them a couple days early. But yeah, so basically you kind of like vote by buying one, and whoever sells the most mugs during the event gets to keep that mug in the store for the rest of the year. So like I think that last year it was Forrest, because his have a good day or never have a bad day or whatever design is the one that's been in the store all year. I am not planning on winning. I don't think I'm gonna win with hashtag Team Lux, but if you want to represent, I'll make sure to post the links. Like if they drop Christmas Eve, I'll make sure to plug it a bunch during my stream on Christmas Eve. I'll try to make sure to post about it on the community page and everything to make sure it's a limited, it's like a FOMO thing. Like you have to buy one or it will not be available for like, I think it's only like a week or two that we do the mug brawl. So I'll make sure to communicate with you guys actively. I feel when I get karyotyped and there's a Z chromosome for some fuck ass reason. Did that actually happen? I already got a Luxander mug this month. Yeah. Yeah. I saw I've never used the like fourth wall thank your purchasers function, but I'm going to, because someone just purchased something and they asked me, if you had to be any kind of animal, what would it be and why? And I think that that's a great opportunity for me to be like, hey, thank you, blah blah The answer is orca. Did I miss it? What ounces is the mug? There's two sizes. This is the 15-ounce mug, but there is a smaller size. I don't remember what it is. It might be 8 ounces or like hold on, 12 ounces? I don't actually know. Let me go to the Line Merch website and check. Let's just check out the Zerba mug. Yeah, so on our website, when we put out mugs, they are either 11 ounces or 15 ounces. And these are 15 ounces. So this is the like slightly taller one. I keep meaning to post a pic to Discord, but I keep forgetting. I got the big one. Yes, I love the big one. I need to take some pictures too of I have my own merch of like I have 2 tank tops, I have a t-shirt, I have the hoodie, and I have the mug. And so I need to take some pictures of myself wearing the merch and put them up on the website. Yeah, Mug Brawl is not posted yet. It is going to post on like Christmas. I asked Jimmy, he said it's going to start on Christmas. It's like going like from Christmas into January, you know, this is the idea, is to cover the drop in income that we usually see on the channel in January specifically. Casio, we all know it's better. We all know it's better. We all know that wet food is better. Everybody agrees. Jesus fucking Christ. You were like, okay, I admit my opinion lacked nuance, but tired of your shit. That's my patience, and it's gone now. We all fucking know that wet food is better, okay? Thank you. What, not a dwagon? It is a dwagon. This is dwagon. It's a tail. It's like a dwagon tail. Someone in my comments was like, well, a dragon's tail is supposed to have a spade on it. And I'm like, you know that dragons aren't real, right? Are you aware that dragons are real or not real? There's not even consensus on how many legs they have. I'll pretend that my lug is a Team Lux mug. Support from us poor folk. Yeah, no worries. Maybe we can borrow some patience from Dr. Ben. Ha! You know, the other day when I was running all of my Christmas errands, I was listening to Owl City, partially because I was having a severe autonomic episode that I was like, I feel like maybe this is a panic attack. So I was trying to like listen to music and dance and stuff so that I could stop having a panic attack while I was trying to drive. But yeah, and I love Owl City old music because he's big on wordplay and stuff. So what was the one? It's a song, I think it's called Dental Care. It's like, when hygienists leave on long vacations, that's when dentists scream and lose their patience. Cute. Oh, if you could be any animal. Well, I guess I was making the assumption that it was like, if you could be any real animal, what would it be? And the answer is orca, because orca, they have more complex brains than we do. And I would like to know what it's like to be them. Like, they have probably a deeper capacity for emotional connection than we do because of the kinds of their brains, the kinds of brain stuff that they have. So, orca is my answer. Owl City is a Christian band, technically. Yeah. There are some of his songs that I don't listen to because I'm like, wow, that's creepy Christian shit. And even some of the ones that I love, it's like it has mentions of Christian stuff in it, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. You know, it's too deep in my brain to never listen to it again. Yeah, for me, any real animal, you would say an eagle, any animal at all, a dragon. Yeah, a dragon's the obvious answer. But if we're staying within the realm of possibility, Not that being another animal is within the realm of possibility, but you know what I'm saying here. I'm not going to choose like the animal that's closest to being a dragon but isn't a dragon, you know? Albatross? Is that the closest you get? Owl City is Christian. Yeah, I think his older music, like maybe it's a little bit less, but he swung into Christian weirdness for a bit. I don't know. I had like stopped listening to any of his newer stuff for a couple years, and this was still fucking 13 years ago. But I had stopped listening to any of his new stuff for a bit. And then I saw that he had posted a song called Galaxies, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Galaxies, what? But then it was like very, very, very heavily Christian, and I was like, man, that's a bummer. Evanescence was considered a Christian band for a hot minute, and then Ben Moody cussed a reporter out for mentioning it. Nice. I'd like to be an octopus, then I can get out of any situation.
Faulty Branches has donated $20. For the love of the Void Kitty.
Thank you very much, Faulty, for the $20 dono. Indeed, for the love of the Void Kitty. If I pick up his ashes on Wednesday, I'm sure that I will show them to you on the screen. I mean, when Lucy died, like his ashes were in the background of my streams for a long time because that's where my little altar setup was behind me. It's in a different part of my office now, but what am I doing? Cremation. He was a good boy. What about dinosaurs? They're pretty dragonish and real. I mean, so I guess I was limiting myself to like ones that are alive currently. Cause like, so if we were to go with like dinosaurs currently, then I feel like the closest you can get to a dragon is like an albatross. Or like an ostrich, maybe. They can't fly, but they've got the reach, you know, they've got the chomps. What does the fox say was such a jam, and I still love it. Honestly, I was just thinking about that. Like my partner played Stonehenge recently. And I was like, man, they really like it was kind of like one of the first major meme songs, right? Like what does the fox say? Like I can't think of any ones that came before that were as widely popular. All the frilled and bearded dragons in my house would argue they're real. Har har. Har 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 har. I like it, but we know what foxes sound like. I'm pretty sure that all of the vocalizations that they do in the song, What Does the Fox Say? All of those vocalizations are fox vocalizations. Like, they make all kinds of little sounds. They're very vocal boys. Very talkative. They got a lot to say. Much like my Mitternacht did. Man, again, those are the weird things. I'm like, there's nobody to go at me in the morning. There's nobody to be like, hey, what do you have? Do you have some water? Do you have some food? I would like to know what you have. And then when you let them smell it, they're like, I would love to drink some of your Starbucks Frappuccino. And you're like, no, you can't eat that. Or like, he tried to drink like my partner's whiskey one time. And it's like, no, because we just, for mental stimulation. And this is another one of those like, cats are like supervisors, I don't know if I would have thought of that if it wasn't for the fact that I've been binge watching a bunch of Evan and Caitlin videos, but their cat Juby, who passed away earlier this year, I think, they called her the supervisor, and like she would check things out and they would be like, which one does she like better? Or does she like this? And sometimes it was because they were building something specifically for her, but also like just in general. But yeah, it's like it's a little supervisor. You got to be like, here, you can smell the thing. You want to know what I have. Every day he wanted to know about my coffee or tea. And then he would be like, no, I don't want to sample any of that. And I would be like, good, because you can't have any. Excuse me. I remember Owl City's first LP came out not long after the Postal Service was big. I was running a college radio station at the time, and so many people thought Owl City was either the Postal Service or another Ben Gibbard project. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I can kind of understand that. I used to listen to the Postal Service. Speaking of Christian bands, did anyone here go to Paramore's Bible study booth at Warped Tour in the day? I hope that doesn't mean what I think it means. I used to be really into Paramore, but not so much now. Bye, Owlwise. If I can't make it back, have a good evening, everyone. Yeah. So I guess I want to explain like some of my logic. I had already been planning on trying to stream a little bit later on Sundays. I know normally I start at like 11 a.m. Pacific time, but if having just started producing, and that starts at like technically 4:30, I need to start getting things up and running. And then I'm locked in by like 4:45, and then the show starts at 5. So that's the After Dark show on Sunday. And oh my god, my brain just emptied out completely. So, oh yeah. So what's been happening is if I maintain my existing stream schedule, and let's say I end at 3, or like I was just thinking about reducing it down to 3 hours instead of 4 hours, then it would be ending at 2. So either I'm ending at 2 or 3 o'clock, and then my next job doesn't start until 4:30, and that's like a weird, awkward gap to have in the middle of your workday in a way that makes it feel like you don't actually get to rest at any point during the day. So probably from now on, we're going to be starting at 1 p.m. Pacific and going until 4. I guess that's like the 3-hour mark. And then I have a short break in between this task and my next task, and then I can actually like chill in the morning instead of feeling like, oh, I just woke up and now I have to like get this started. And I have to start this job technically like an hour beforehand because I take the thumbnail picture. So I have to at least look like I'm ready.
Domestic has donated $65. Missing you with your kitty.
Thank you, Domestic. Yeah, I miss his little butt. I miss his little face. Man. Like, I feel, we got to have plenty of time with him, which I will, he was like 15 years old, so we had plenty of time with him in that sense, and he passed away at a time of day where we had plenty of time to sit with him at home and give him his pets and have time to kind of absorb what's going on, and then took him in. So I feel like we did the best we could. And that brings us up to, if I can do math, 225 out of the 250. So thank you guys for helping me pay for his services. I didn't get any of the extra stuff either. Like, I guess technically I did get something extra because the default thing that they do is you don't get the ashes back. So I did pay to do the cremation that you get the ashes back. They also offer, do you want to do like the paw prints thing? And I was like, I don't need to do that because I already have my little bag of fur and stuff. So, yeah. Really? Was earnest? Paramore was earnest about having a Christian Bible study booth at the Warped Tour? Wow, that's fucking sad. I didn't know that. That's disappointing. When our family had both a cat and a dog, the dog was afraid of the cat. I do think that that is the natural order of things. Dog needs to be a little bit afraid of the cat. I think that it probably helps curb some of the prey drive. Like, if the prey in your house is like, I will fucking wreck your shit. I love when dogs desire to be assistants. What are you doing? Can I do that too? Yeah. I feel like my cats have always been like, what are you doing? I want to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
As a kid, our cat was scared of the rabbit. Oh no. Thank you, Squirrel Knitter, for the $5 super chat with a hug and a sad face. Indeed. Thank you very much. It's a strange thing to be like fundraising for, I guess, like, hey, I'm sad. My cat just died. Send me money. But like it's legitimate, like it's an expense that I didn't have. And again, like not even counting like the fact that I have a $50 bag of cat food that I have to just like donate to the Humane Society now. Augie is such a common dog name. My sister has a dog named Augie. Emperor Eli, welcome to the website. My first cat was a grumpy senior, took on 2 dogs that were 2 times the size of him, and they both jumped an electric fence to play with him, and he scared them both right back over it. Yeah. It's how fast they are. The cats, when they get the whap, 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 they're so fast. And like they will make themselves bigger, and you know, I've seen, okay, I don't actually know. Now that I'm realizing like we're in the age of some of the easiest AI videos to fake are low quality like trail cam or ring footage.
Trout_dealer got a tier 1 subscription. Always sad when a furry companion has to part with us, RIP.
That's so true. I have seen footage, and I don't know if it's legit or not, but of like a cat scaring off a black bear, like a relatively small bear. Because cats, man, it's like imagine you're a bear and there's a thing that's the size of a cat and it's throwing down, and you're like, ooh, like, oh no, they could like that little tiny thing is acting like it can beef with me, then it must have some thing that I don't know about that could seriously hurt me. So yeah, because you're used to, as a large predator, you're used to smaller animals like running away. So if a small animal wants to beef with you, real video, that was before all this AI stuff. Okay, cool. Like statistically, at least it's likely that I may have seen real footage. Black bears are easily frightened anyway. Yeah, sure, they're small. Fun fact, your gut feeling is actually borne out by the evidence. If you have a break that's too long, like a split shift, then it's empirically worse for cognitive fatigue. Looking into stuff like that is part of my role as a union rep. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I just kind of had, I was like, it just is an awkward amount of time where like, I don't, you know, you can't really like initiate another task. You just like not like, ugh, it just is not a fun amount of time. An hour and a half between one thing and the other. But it's cool, like it's actually borne out by the evidence that split shifts are kind of like bad for you cognitively. Black bears are especially cowards, yeah. I grew up with cats and losing them was always painful. Yeah. It's interesting too, like, so I have had cats like my entire life. Very much like not, I can't, man, as a kid, like I can't remember any length of time where we didn't have cats. Like any, you know, longer than like a couple of months maybe. Deep into my childhood. And I did live without a cat because, like, obviously I moved out of living with my partner for like 10 months, and I left Mitternacht with him because I was like, you already paid the pet deposit, whatever. It'll be easier for me to find an apartment if I don't have to deal with that, and I don't want to move him. Like, it would just stress him out for no reason. So I was like, you can just, you know, keep the cat, basically. And I was still visiting and stuff, so I still saw the cat every couple weeks. So it was like, I did have my own space, and I was totally alone, except for, at the time, I had my isopod pets. And it was, you know, I think one cat could have lived in that tiny fucking apartment with me, and it wouldn't have felt incredibly claustrophobic. And it was weird to be like, it was good, I guess, to be like, nobody's demanding anything of me. I'm not like responsible for someone else. I can leave my house, I could go spend the night with my partner and stay overnight and like not have to worry like, oh, I need to get back home and feed my cat or whatever. So, it was convenient in that way. And it's just different though. Like, cuz I still live with my partner now. So for us to not have a cat, like that is a rather unique situation because we have always had cats. Given that, like, I think we had been dating for, I want to say like 7 or 8 months when we got the kittens, of which Deegan and Lucy were part of that litter. So, yeah, like our almost entire relationship, we had those cats. Or like Mitternacht was the bridging kind of like we got him afterwards and then he lived for longer than they did. So yeah, this is our first time as a couple that we don't have a cat. My cat's special stack move is sweep the leg. She legit attacks the back of my knee while I'm walking all the time. Oh no. I've never had a cat who's like aggressive in that way. That's the unpredictable thing about getting a new cat is, at the shelter they might say it has one type of personality, but then it comes out of its shell at your house and suddenly it's like launching itself off of the top of the refrigerator. I'll never understand anyone who doesn't see their pets as part of their family. More shocking, there are people like that out there. Yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind that there are people who don't see their children as like real people and like part of their family, Like there are, I guess my algorithm has tuned itself to show me a lot of content from women talking about men. And so I see a lot of posts that are, this man prioritizes his mother on Mother's Day and not the mother of his own children. So there is kind of this thing that it seems with some men in particular where they like, so not only are they not caring about the pets as like a, truly emotionally relevant part of their lives, but they don't think of their children that way and they also don't think of their wives that way. Silent, thank you. Yeah, it's been a tough week, but it's also almost Christmas, so I'm trying to be like, ooh, it's Christmas, and is solstice today? Is today? Happy solstice, everybody! It's today, slash tomorrow, I guess, like the shortest day of the year. So this is the shortest day of the year, y'all. Listen. Things are gonna start to get better. Like, things are gonna start to get better. That's what this time of year is about, is going like, everything is cold and quiet, and it's the shortest day of the year. It's like, so the darkness dominates today. And from this point on, light will win out. We are going to swing back toward longer days, warmer days. I don't hate the winter where I am because like, it's fucking what's the weather today? It's fucking 46 degrees and it's December. I'm happy, okay? It's only dipping down into like 38 at night. So I'm fine with it being winter here. It does like, not a problem for me in that sense of it being like cold and stuff, but the days being short is an issue. And the days being cloudy is an issue. So, I have an appreciation for all of these things as they come and they go. And so we can appreciate that, like, the winter brings us wonderful opportunities to visit with people we love and to rest. To rest. Excuse me. So, light a candle if you can. Hug the ones you love if you can tonight. It's just... It's not just biding our time until the spring, It's doing what we can seasonally as it matters, right? We can do lots of pleasant indoor things during the winter. Like, the winter time is for knitting. Wintertime is for getting into your canned food stores and celebrating around the fire and decorating your tree. My roomies moved a lot closer to a farmer's market, so I got a ham for Christmas dinner today. Ooh, that's nice. We're having our friend over again who was over here for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, and he was like, "Are you gonna cook? And should I bring anything?" And I was like, I don't really think of Christmas as a cooking holiday as much, um, but I am gonna buy charcuterie, so that's my thing. That I'm gonna do this year is just like, let's get some nice charcuterie. We'll get some goat cheese. We'll get some Gouda. Get a couple of different meats. You know, I recently we recently got a charcuterie thing. It was like a pre-made charcuterie thing that came with dried fruit, and I hadn't ever really considered dried fruit as being part of the experience of charcuterie. Um, oh, sorry, Trout Dealer, with your tier 1 sub earlier. I was in the middle of a sentence, and so I didn't say anything. But yes, thank you for the $5, I think $5 dono. I really appreciate it. Which means the cremation costs are almost entirely covered at this point. So yeah, I'm doing charcuterie. And yeah, like, so some kind of meats, a couple of cool cheeses, maybe some crackers, some olives. Oh god, olives as part of charcuterie, and some like dried fruit. The YouTube option keeps saying charcuterie. Charcuterie. Tell me if that one... charcuterie board. Fuzzy says, your mentioning of people not considering pets and kids part of the family reminded me, it's disgusting when dudes call into the line and talk about how God can do whatever he wants with us because he created us. Then the host asks the most obvious question ever about whether a parent can do whatever they want with their kids, and the caller says yes, because the kids are parents' property until they turn 18 and leave home. I fucking want to be there for that so that I can say, oh, so I can transition my kid if I decide that that's what's good for my kid, right? 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 It doesn't know the word charcuterie. That's interesting. Dried fruit adds so much to a cheese party. Yeah, we got like some dried apricots, I think. Also, I love figs. They're so good. Why are they so good? So yeah, I'll probably get some figs and other various dried fruits. I don't know what symptoms people were talking about earlier except hives. I just learned I probably have EDS with MCAS, which explains some weird allergies I have to ibuprofen and benzocaine and alcohol. Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of random symptoms, and I do suspect EDS and MCAS. EDS almost certainly. Like, I have a pectus excavatum. I have stretch marks all the fuck over my body. My skin is super duper duper soft. I have hypermobility in several of my joints. I did this recently, and I was like, I don't actually know what... Are you supposed to be able to touch it? Because I can't touch it necessarily. But it is, like, pretty close, you know? I don't know if I have this part. It's not my most hyperflexible part of my body. But both elbows, though. So, yeah, without question, I have something. You're making me want dried frosted mango slices now. Are they frosted because there's sugar on them? I baked again today, trying out a rye loaf, which is baking right now. Marbled molasses gingerbread cookies are done, and some rusk is on deck to be made. That sounds good. My partner recently asked if we could rearrange how we do dinners throughout the week so that we don't cook on the weekend, so that he can have free reign of the kitchen to do his baking experiments. So far, very few baking experiments, but I'll pressure him. I'll be like, baby, why don't you make a delicious tart for me to eat, please? How do you feel about figgy pudding? I've never had figgy pudding. I don't really know what comprises figgy pudding. Figgy pudding or fig pudding is any of many medieval Christmas dishes, usually sweet or savory cakes containing honey, fruits, and nuts. In later times, rum or other distilled alcohol was often added to enrich the fruitiness of the flavor. I mean, that sounds fucking really good. I've just never had it before. I've never had a traditional pudding. Yeah, I've never had a British pudding. Thank you, Barbara, so much for the 5 UK units, who says, in memory of Mitternacht, your fur baby. I've had cats since I was 16 and I miss them all. You truly never stop missing them. And it does not get easier. I've said before, like, I don't want to have rats. I don't want to have ferrets. Well, ferrets stink, but I don't want to have rats because every 3 to 5 years, I have to deal with this. Oh, I don't want to deal with it. Like, so much do I not want to deal with it. It's bad enough every 10 to 15 years, or like a max of like 20 years. My partner probably has EDS, even though one doctor thinks she didn't, even though her hypermobility was the most significant in the elbows that he had ever seen. Well, it's like EDS is only one type of connective tissue disorder. There's also like Marfan's, which sounds much more severe. I don't know why. Marfan's sounds like something that's going to kill you, but it's just a connective tissue disorder. I don't really know how it's different. Marfan's versus EDS. Let's learn today. Oh my god. Well, okay, so Marfan's is worse. EDS primarily affects the skin, joints, and gastrointestinal system, while Marfan syndrome poses the greatest risks to the cardiovascular system. Okay, well, I hope it's not Marfan. Probably just EDS, though. Rats were and always will be my favorite pet I've ever had, but yes, that short lifespan is hard. Yeah. Yeah, people with Marfan's die from aortic complications a lot. That's the impression that I got based on the fact that it... Also, VEDS, like vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, they're both... They also tend to be tall and skinny. I'm not excessively tall or skinny. Later, Ghost Pepper Lollipop, have a good night. Townsend's just did a figgy pudding video today. Ooh. I haven't watched Townsend's in a while because something about the main presenter like puts me off, but it is an excellent source for learning. Do you like Star Wars or Star Trek more? Okay. They're real different, right? They're exploring completely different aspects of the human experience. So I find it really difficult to compare them. Like, this is like the classic dichotomy, and I understand that it's like a popular argument, but like I find it so difficult to compare them because they're both really interesting. They're just interesting in different ways. Like, of course, Star Trek I like more in the sense that it is aspirational. It's about humanity trying to be its best self in the absence of serious struggle. Like, for the most part, everybody's basic needs are taken care of, all that kind of stuff. So, like, it is stimulating in that way of, like, if all of our needs are taken care of, what can humanity aspire to be? And then there are also the things about, like, human nature, da-da-da, like, sometimes humans are still going to want to be greedy, and we have to fight against that impulse and all this. Star Wars, I mean, especially with stuff like Star Wars Andor and some of this more recent stuff, like, Star Wars highlights the tenacity of the human spirit in unimaginably oppressive conditions. So it's aspirational in that way of, like, it's inspiring you to keep fighting. It's inspiring you to like be with your comrades, like to, the idea that good will win out over evil, or that even when evil wins out, we still hold our values close and we still keep fighting and all this. Like, I guess in the sense that like I feel like Star Wars portrays a world that is more true to our world in a way that can make it difficult to watch without feeling all the pressures of real political strife from your life in it, right? Like, I cannot watch Star Wars Andor without thinking about how it is a reflection of real world trauma that we're all kind of collectively going through, with the militarization of our police and watching a genocide happen across the planet and all of these things. So I guess to some degree, I like Star Trek better because it's more escapist. Like, I don't feel like I'm watching a fictionalized portrayal of real events that I'm living through currently. Does that make sense? Artemis, what's up at a Hanukkah party at the moment? That's awesome. Happy Hanukkah. I don't know when it started this year. A lot of the times in past years, I will go through and like on my Facebook, I'll post like happy holidays. Here are all of the holidays this winter. And I'll put the dates and everything, but I haven't done it the last couple of years. That was me being just like a shitty little, a shitty little atheist, a little bit of, people, whatever, happy holidays. It's Merry Christmas. You heard it here. But then like, yeah, like, well, Hanukkah and Ramadan and Yule, like there are other things happening. Even if you don't celebrate anything other than Christmas, it's also the New Year. So happy holidays encompasses Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Star Wars or Star Trek? Orville. Oof. I hold on real quick. I don't know, man. The Orville was, I don't know. I didn't like the conversion therapy episode. It was uncomfortable to me. And I stopped watching at the end of like season 2, I think. Mm. Herbal tea. Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, no, he didn't delete the message. I deleted the message. I saw it. You don't need to all caps me. It's cool. Chill out. We don't need to get up in a tizzy about people trolling in the chat. It's not a big deal. A reminder that hypermobility is a spectrum with many causes, and sometimes the cause is a tendon injury that causes you to be overly flexible forever. Yeah, of course, part of getting a specific diagnosis is so that I know, like, hey, do I have vascular EDS? Am I likely to die in my 40s? Because that would be a problem. Speaking of Peepo Trek, have you seen the crazy fan-made Trek that Riverboat Jack watches every year? No. I didn't know about this. I haven't heard about this. Star Wars is for action and dystopian. Star Trek for the adventure of exploration and society interactions of different aliens. Yeah. Star Wars, I mean, Star Trek is still actiony, certainly. Like, at least, there are episodes here and there, and there are some of the movies that are, like, pretty action-oriented. Trinket says, "Oh, by the way, are you doing okay, Trinket? After what happened? Sorry, I was like, how do I sum that up? Um, I have that slur shouted at me out of cars while I'm walking. I started just taking it as a compliment. Like, yes, I am that obviously fabulous. Uh, yeah. Um, it doesn't really bother me. Like, like my friends and I call each other that. You realize this? I was on with Jimmy this week and he was like, "Oh, I just almost called you the F word." And I was like, like I wouldn't mind, but I don't think YouTube would like that very much. Just so funny that we're like that casual with each other. It's like, "What up, F slur?" Like, I don't know. Like, you think that me and all my queer friends don't call each other that? Like, yeah, we do for sure. Like my younger sibling and I will call that to each other. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's not a big deal. By the way, the tendon injury causing hypermobility isn't that cool. It often comes with a side of arthritis. Ooh, yeah, truly. Yeah, YouTube chat getting trolled just a touch more than usual today. I I genuinely don't understand people. I am probably never going to, and that's fine. It's like I just don't ever have the urge to go into someone else's space and bother them. If I don't like something someone else is doing, I'm like, okay, I don't like that, so I'm just gonna not be there. And it's not a big deal to me. I don't have an urge to like point out something that someone is doing that I don't like, like I barely do that with people I love, much less strangers. Like, even with people I love, I'm more likely to be like, whatever. I'm just gonna, manage my own reaction and whatever. And that's not exactly healthy either. I need to get better at actually addressing things. But my point is, like, I'm not gonna go trolls are bots IMO. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the hope. Because if they are real people, then there is like a threat that they could pose. Like, I'm obviously like I'm very aware of the threat of doxing. I try to be very careful about where I go and where I say I'm going and what information I post online.
Trout_dealer gifted 2 tier 1 subscriptions. I used to be a big fan, but now I'm kind of burned out on everything Star Wars. Too much overexposure. I just want it to leave me alone.
Yeah, thank you for the gifted tier 1 subs. Enjoy that, M on Mighty Land and the Fuzzy Logic. Yeah, I for sure feel that way about Marvel. Like, big Marvel burnout for me. And so I could see it being the same with Star Wars. I just recently became, and that's also us hitting the $250 goal. So all of the cremation costs have been covered now. Thank you so much for helping alleviate that burden. I know you all are probably also spending Christmas money on your loved ones, so your generosity is very much appreciated in this time. Excuse me. But yes, I've definitely, like, we haven't watched the Black Widow movie yet. There's a few in there that we have not seen. I haven't watched Wakanda Forever. Like, I just don't, I'm just burned out. I did finally fucking get around to watching WandaVision, and WandaVision was okay. And it gives you that little context that you need to more deeply understand what's going on in Doctor Strange 2. I did love Doctor Strange 2. Thought it was a good movie. I rewatched that one. But as far as new Marvel content, I'm kind of like, you can miss me with that. I'm good. Star Wars Andor was amazing, but I'm not out here, like, chomping at the bit to watch The Mandalorian. You know what I mean? I found employment after a long while. Hey, congrats, Trout Dealer. Very happy for you. Yes. Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh, and President Lincoln are both suspected of having Marfan syndrome. Oh, that's interesting. Since you mostly talk about religion, Scotty, you must not be here on my stream very often because I don't mostly talk about religion. Even on my shows on the line, I mostly don't talk about religion because mostly I'm on the Transatlantic Call-In show where people are talking about trans issues. Marvel and Star Wars are owned by Disney, which is supposed to be divested from per request from Palestine. Yeah. Yeah. I still have a Disney Plus. Honestly, everybody canceled their Disney Pluses after the Jimmy Fallon thing, and then they increased the price by $3, and I was like, I'm more likely to quit this thing because of that. But it's also like a business expense because I watch movies for two aspects of my job now. It took way too long for the MCU to have any queer inclusion, and being Disney, it's very mild, so I'm just not that interested. Truly. It's like, how many more things am I gonna have to watch about straight people? Later, Fauna Makes. Thank you for hanging out. And yeah, we're all gonna try to take care of this week. I'm gonna watch Galaxy Quest again tonight to get my notes together for the podcast. So I'll have the podcast tomorrow. And then we're gonna be doing we're gonna do Rob Reiner next. We do these, like, sometimes we focus on a particular director for the podcast. Many Worlds Hypothesis on the Gayfesh YouTube channel. So yeah, we're doing Star Trek movies right now, and then we're gonna take a break from Star Trek and do Rob Reiner. So we're gonna do The Princess Bride and Spinal Tap and all those kind of movies. And I'm looking forward to it. It's a little opportunity to do some film history because I haven't seen most of Rob Reiner's movies, and I've heard of several of them as well regarded in the historical record, So Galaxy Quest, yeah. So we are watching Galaxy Quest in between two. We just watched Star Trek Insurrection, and then there's the fourth Star Trek movie that I can't remember the name of the four The Next Generation movies. So Insurrection, and then whatever the next one is, we're doing Galaxy Quest in between those two. to keep on the theme of, like, every other Star Trek movie is considered good or bad. So instead of doing two kind of widely considered to be bad movies, one after the other, we're slipping Galaxy Quest in there. So, yeah. After Insurrection is Nemesis. Yeah, so we're watching Galaxy Quest before we get into Nemesis, and then we're taking a break from Star Trek. And we'll circle back around eventually and do the 2008 Star Trek movie, and then the subsequent sequels. I had a coworker whose entire personality seemed to begin and end with the MCU, as a prime example of why a singular enjoyment of a setting, regardless of the individual merit of a piece, is so weird. He genuinely thought everything was the best example of film and art in general. If it's your gateway drug into enjoying... if it's your gateway drug into enjoying literary analysis and film theory and stuff, then cool. Like, I'm glad that you have a way in. That was Game of Thrones for me. Like, I didn't care that much about movie production. Well, that's not entirely true, because I thought the idea of being a cinematographer was really cool, and I did, like, a whole several months of research into what it would require to become, like, the director of photography. But it was really Game of Thrones that got me into this whole, like, writing and how does the scene get put together and like the props in the scene and all kinds of stuff. So I mean, yeah, and again, I guess I did kind of still have an appreciation for those things when I was younger, a la the Lord of the Rings box set extra materials that it has. Um, mm, I love movie production. The era of DVDs was the greatest because of all the behind the scenes. Yeah, and I'm really into it now. Like I'm super into it, but it was really like, um, really present for me, and like became something that I'm very actively interested in fairly recently. But it's just been a backdrop of my whole life that there's all this artistry that goes into making films, and all of these different people are contributing their ideas, and it all like cohesively comes together or doesn't. And it's also interesting to ask, like, why didn't this work? Why does this kind of what in the world is happening? Okay. And for good measure. Okay. Oh, that's really cool. Dally says seeing The Princess Bride in a theater and then watching Carrie Elways do a Q&A after reading his book was an amazing experience. That sounds awesome. I'm going to go see Fire and Ash soon. I'm excited to do that. I just rewatched Avatar The Way of Water, and honestly, I think that I like most movies. Unless the movie makes me feel really terrible. Like Beau is Afraid, I fucking hated that movie. Hated it. It's the only movie I've watched recently that I've been like, I'm never gonna watch that movie again. I fucking hated it. Uh, so it is possible for me to hate a movie, but I think I just enjoy most movies. I think I'm just like, yeah, that's a fucking movie. I don't know. If my MCU coworker had been diving into the production and especially cinematography angle, we could have been great friends. But no, he just lived and died on the it's the best. That's about it. No nuance or anything deeper. I can talk for hours about a singular film and what you can take away from it, whereas he'd pivot hard to other things if pressed. Yeah, I can talk about movies all day long. Like, there's the, you know, immersing ourselves in the universe and thinking about the, decisions that the characters make. Then you can pull it back and think about like the decisions that the writers made, and like how the creation of those characters, like they don't actually exist in their own world. They exist in a projection of our world, and like what kind of thoughts or impulses, or social constructs that we have can be carried over into this fictional world. And then there's like you can pull it back even further and look at like the production, and why did they choose to put this scene in front of that scene, and why is this on the table, or oh, do you hear that music playing? Like there's so many different aspects that you can go into. And yes, we do it on the podcast. The Many Worlds Hypothesis on the GayFest YouTube channel. I love it when I have the DVD of something we watch for the podcast so I can learn all the funny bits. Yeah, you bring all the little information about the production, because I usually don't get into any of that. I'm just like, I watched the movie and I'm evaluating the movie, and then you're like, here's a fun fact. This is the same footage from this other thing. And I'm like, hell yeah. There is something so bubblegummy about this tea. It's so weird. What could is marshmallow root taste? Does marshmallow root have like a sweet, like bubblegum thing going on to it? Because that's like the number one ingredient on this, says marshmallow root. Marshmallow root, honey bush, rose hips, lemon myrtle, raspberry leaf, elderberry, blue cornflower, pink peppercorn, natural flavor. This is one of my caffeine-free ones. Yeah, it smells like gum. But not, it's like not exactly like bubble gum, but similar. Are y'all going to see Avatar 3? And I have seen Avatar exactly once in theaters 15 years ago. Haven't seen the sequel. I really enjoyed the first Avatar. I watched that movie. It's one of my. I'll like go back to it and be like, there's like something new to see every time. And then I finally got around to watching like the director's cut, and that has like extra stuff in it. And then it took us like 2 years or more after Avatar: The Way of Water came out before we finally watched it. And now I've only seen it twice. I want to say I just watched it for the second time this week. And the first time we were watching it, we were like, partway through the movie, and I was like, I think this might be a bad movie, and that I just like bad movies. But then I watched it again, and I was like, actually, I just think that it's a good movie. Like, I don't know, but maybe that's just like the beauty of me, is that I can find something in every movie that I'm like, well, that feels like a real human experience, or I liked how that was portrayed, or whatever. I feel like it's hard for me to watch a movie and be like, unilaterally, there was nothing redeeming about that. The first one was the best 3D movie I ever saw. Yeah, that's honestly the main reason that I'm going to see Fire and Ash in theaters, is because I haven't seen any of the other ones. I think the last 3D movie that I saw was a Star Wars movie. And it's just like such a spectacle that I feel like it would be worth it to see in theaters. My partner saw the first one in theaters twice because it was so good. Like, especially what he pointed out to me was like the scene toward the end when the tree has burned down and there's all this ash falling through the air, and then like if you're in the theater, it's like it's close to your face, like falling. And I was like, man, that sounds really cool, but I couldn't afford to go see it at the time. There's a lot of cool artistry in the movie for sure, but I remember being disappointed by the plot not being that complicated. Like, if you're spending a decade to make a movie, you should be devoting a decent chunk of that to making sure your story is cool. Sure, I think that's fair. And like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say like Avatar: The Way of Water is very complicated either. Honestly, like, they're statement films. They're pro-environmental statement films. So they don't like have a lot to say beyond like nature good, industry bad, capitalism bad, communism good. Kind of. Not exactly. Well, kind of. Yeah, honestly, I think I need to read about what communism actually means, because after having watched The Last of Us and being like, okay, I've seen an example of a commune, therefore communism must be based in the commune, and therefore like based in the idea of shared responsibility, shared resources, tight-knit community, those kind of things. And so in that way, Avatar is communist because in the second movie, spoiler alert, not major spoilers, but one group has to move from living with this tribe to living with another tribe. And when they go to live with the new tribe, that tribe is like, well, you need to learn our ways so that you don't experience the shame of being useless. That's the terminology that's used, which, like, whatever, is a little bit ableist, I guess. But so there is this idea of like, you need to be part of the group, you need to have a role, you need to do something for the group. And so I do kind of, and it's like, kind of shared resources, like you have your own hut, but other than that, like food is probably shared and all this. So I do think that there is a little bit of like a pro-communist, anti-capitalist message in Avatar. So again, not complicated, but I like the, like, let's explore some human relationships on the backdrop of a pretty simple, clear-cut good guy, bad guy situation. Like, I don't mind that it's not super complicated. And I love the spectacle. Like, yeah, like, dude, that water scene, like, holy cow. I'll be watching something and, like, think about that episode of VFX Artists React where they were like, oh, yeah, this part with the hand and he wraps the leather around the hand and, like, how much of that was CGI? Those kind of things. Avatar Dances with Wolves meets Dragon Riders of Pern in a Roger Dean landscape. Yeah, fair enough. people are talking about proposals in the YouTube chat. I don't know what I missed there. The first Avatar movie is not the worst, especially with the quality of movies going down in general. The first movie. Yeah. I think it's crazy. My partner just told me this, and I didn't know this until just now, that the reason why the television show, the original animated television show Avatar The Last Airbender, is called Avatar The Last Airbender, because it was like 10 years before that James Cameron had filed his copyright of the word Avatar. So, you know, that movie came out in 2008, but he'd already been working on it for like a minimum of 10 years, from like concept to execution. And like, frankly, you kind of gotta respect a dude who's got a fucking vision and commits to making it happen. And like, you have to invent technology. They have invented brand new technology in order to make this world come to life. And it's so cool. I just watched a video that I would recommend. I can't remember her name. It's Michelle something. Ah, fuck. Is it in my history somewhere? It was like a Disney... Nope, hold on. Let's just look up Avatar. Okay, it was a video. Here, I'll pull it up.
How about we get
this video called Movie Servers Behind the Scenes of Avatar Fire and Ash with Michelle Khare. She gets to explore the volume, and like she gets to wear the suit and the little trackers and everything, and she gets to like practice and perform a scene. And this person teaches her like the Na'vi walk with, it's like as if a string is pulling their chest forward, like they lead with their chest. And so there's like a whole like physicality behind it. Very, very cool behind the scenes stuff. And this didn't have any spoilers for the movie. I did try to watch a James Cameron, interview. What was the interview I tried to watch? James Cameron nerds out Avatar tech, Titanic doors, and the future of cinema. But I got spoiled on something from the movie, and I was like, well, fuck, never mind, I can't watch that movie. When taking a decade to make one film, it helps that he's a billionaire. There's way worse things he could be doing as a billionaire. So true, right? Like, and the fact that he's employing a bunch of Maori actors and stuff. Like, okay, like, and I have watched like a video that was like an indigenous person, probably a couple videos of an indigenous person like criticizing Avatar, and like there are lots of criticisms to be had. Completely like not trying to say that there aren't, but yeah, as a billionaire, if what you're doing is making movies that make a bunch of people a shit ton of money, including indigenous actors, and going to see the Titanic in a submarine, or whatever the fuck he does in a submarine, because James Cameron is a big submarine dude, like, cool. That's, like, you could be doing way worse things. For Avatar, I'm glad Cameron did consult with Maori on the use of their culture as influence. Thankfully, our country has been used for so many movies now. Yeah. Especially in The Way of Water, that it's like the forest people and then they meet the sea people, and that the sea people very explicitly are based in Maori culture. I don't think that there's any Maori specific for the forest people. I think that those are meant to be more like Native Americans. But yeah, that like the face tattoos and the haka that they do in the middle of the movie, like, yeah. Quite interesting stuff. Confession, I don't know if I'm an anarchist, communist, socialist, or some combo of all three. I do know that I once expressed a political belief, and someone said, that sounds like democratic confederalism. Democratic confederalism sounds awesome. I don't know what that means. I will look it up. If I could type, that would be great. Democratic confederalism. on the Wikipedia. It's also known as Kurdish communalism, Öcalanism, or Apoism, but it's a political concept theorized by Kurdistan Workers' Party leader Abdullah Öcalan with about a system of democratic self-organization with the features of a confederation based on the principles of autonomy, direct democracy, political ecology, feminism, multiculturalism, self-defense, self-governance, and elements of a cooperative economy. Rejecting both the authoritarianism and bureaucratism of state socialism and the predation of capitalism, which were seen by Öcalan as most responsible for the economic inequities, sexism, and environmental destruction in the world, democratic confederalism defends a type of organization or administration which can be called non-state political administration or stateless democracy, which would provide the framework for the autonomous organization of every community, confessional group, gender-specific collective, and or minority ethnic group, among others. The following sentence, it is a model of libertarian socialism and participatory democracy. That's just anarchism. Like, this is just like, let's call anarchy a different word because people are stupid and it's scary when you say anarchy to people. Like, that's kind of what this looks like to me. Democratic confederalism is interesting. Like, I'm not annoyed by it or anything. I like it. Doesn't Vosh like specifically call himself a libertarian socialist as a way of skirting the anarchist word? Like, I don't know. Did you know that India's entire space program cost half of what the Way of Water did? That's interesting. James Cameron may be one of the least unethical billionaires, which isn't saying a lot, but it's something. Yeah. No matter how much consulting and depending who you consult, there will always be some who will not like it. Yeah, we had a caller on Cause I Wanna this week who, it was our very first caller who asked, like, I'm trying to write a trans character in my book and all this da-da-da. And I'm like, look, someone's always going to be upset at the presentation. Like, whether you, like, Vosh isn't really an anarchist anymore. Oh, I mean, I haven't watched him in years, to be clear. I was like, I just thought that he was doing the meme of being like, "Ooh, I'm a libertarian socialist" as a jokey kind of like way of avoiding saying that he's an anarchist. I don't know what the man's political opinions are. I haven't spoken to him personally in a long time. It was my plan to like meet him for lunch or something, since I live here now, but I haven't made it to Seattle at all. So I'm probably going to see some of my friends before I go see Vosh. Probably. And I also still don't have any immediate plans to go do that because I'm just constantly dealing with bullshit at home that saps my energy and makes me feel bad. So, but yeah, we did have that author who was like, I'm trying to make sure that I do a sensitive representation and all this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, be sensitive about your presentation, but like recognize that someone's going to be upset no matter what you do. There are going to be people who are like, this is a too sanitized, or this is too rough around the edges. Like, if you try to portray a character who might have like realistic trauma behavior, like that is, quote, bad representation. And so people are going to be annoyed no matter what. Shakespeare. That writer sounded like they were trying to put way too much in one book. Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. You're trying to, I don't know. I am not writing fiction, so I cannot relate to the struggles of trying to write good fiction. I would love to. It's like one of the things that I want to cultivate in myself is, and some more creative stuff like that, but it's hard. I was thinking about doing a thing of like, let's write a bunch of short stories, like do short story prompts from Tumblr. And I was putting them up on my Patreon, and then I just didn't continue it for very long. So that was my bad. Empty water bottle. Almost empty water bottle. And that's all my fluids. They're gone now. Ooh, a little salty. That's what you want, though. Gotta get the salt in the electrolytes. Who is tonight? I think that was Arden. So tonight on the After Dark show, we have Forrest and Austin. It's gonna be fun. I don't know who's on Skep Talk tomorrow. Does John have a guest on? Hold on. What's going on? There's like, it just says John and then nothing else for tomorrow. Who the fuck is gonna be on Skep Talk tomorrow? Like, I need to know this. Oh, it's literally not scheduled. Okay, I guess we don't know who's on with John tomorrow. Okay. It's a weird time of year. We're flying by the seat of our pants. There's a bunch of people who are just not available this week because it's fucking Christmas. So like, I get it. Like Taylor's not going to be on Chewed Gum, and we don't have somebody subbed in on the schedule yet. I don't see a guest for Matt on Wednesday. On Thursday itself, like we usually have Takis, but I don't think we're doing Takis. I think that they're gonna do like Jackbox games or something. I don't know. I don't really plan on participating, TBH. If anybody's planning on being live on Christmas, you can miss me with that. And then the following week, oh yeah, we don't have any hosts for Skep Talk on the 29th. It's just blank and then Luxander producing. That's it. That's wild. Make sure I have all of my stuff set up here. I hope that doesn't mean that they want me to fill in. Like, I'm kind of tired of being on camera right now, so I'm going to, like, but, you know, I guess if they need me to, I'll cover Chewed Gum or whatever, but Jimmy's supposed to do the schedule. Give him the smacks. Did I tell you, I don't know if I've streamed since this happened, but someone said that that I'm widely regarded as the dumbest host on the line. And I told Jimmy that, and he was like offended. He was like, no, clearly I am the dumbest one. And then I told Forrest, and he was like, no, clearly I am the dumbest one. So I put a poll in the chat, and Jimmy won by, he had like 75% of the vote. It was pretty funny. But yeah, someone got butthurt. I was calling somebody stupid, and they were like, you can't call me stupid. You're widely regarded as the dumbest person on the line. And I was like, wow, must be a trip for the dumbest person on the line to think you're a fucking moron. I also don't have any videos ready for this week. I have like some of the calls from the last couple months that I could like do like some response to, but I don't know, man. I just don't feel like I have anything to say about it. So maybe I should just do a couple strict, like, this is just kind of a clipped down, you know, I took some of the annoying parts out or like some of the crosstalk out, and here's just like a call. Maybe that'll be worth doing just so that there's some kind of content going live, because I just don't have anything else planned right now. You are legitimately widely regarded as the coolest person on the line. Like, no joke. I mean, I don't really name search myself. Sometimes I look at the comments on the line. Like, I can go in the back and be like, yo, who have left what comments recently? some people seem to really like me and some people seem to really dislike me. So that is, yeah, I don't know. Just a little something about me. I feel like I'm a polarizing character. But I don't, it's like, I would be surprised if people thought that I was the coolest. Who would be cooler than me, though? If we're being really real, who's cooler than me on the line? That's tough. That's tough. Obviously, I want to be the coolest. I'm just cruising the comments, seeing if there's anything cool from the last day or so. Lux just got home, wanted to say hello. Hello, Drea. Welcome in. We're going to be wrapping up here momentarily. I'm just kind of seeing if there's anything fun on like the comments on the line recently. Lux is the coolest, being the most trans. True, I am the most trans. Team Lux is the coolest here. The great monad has spoken. True. I tend to get the same thing. Either people really like me or really do not. But I am a pretty loud and opinionated community leader in my area for a while, and I have a habit of calling out unethical behavior by other leaders. Yeah. So I will say, obviously, like the way that I communicate with people is different. But like when I am presenting myself without any pushback, and this is part of why I don't like having guests on my stream, is that I want to just say what I feel and say what I say, like without having to be like, oh, well, maybe there's some nuance to that. I still do a lot of nuance, but I'm not like worried about hurting the feelings of the person that I'm talking to. So when I'm sitting here out here saying like, you need to wear a mask, if you're not wearing a mask, then you are contributing to a eugenicist policy that is killing and disabling millions of people. Like, I don't care about hurting your feelings. But if I was talking to someone personally and I was like, if I was talking to like Forrest, he does these like trips where fans can go on trips with him to like Germany or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, Forrest, if you're not wearing a mask, then you da da. Like, I definitely temper it if I'm trying to talk to somebody who I like care about the relationship with them. And so I do know that the way that I come off can be quite abrasive because there is no one for me to hurt the feelings of when I'm just sitting here talking to my computer. Like, I might as well just be speaking directly into my computer monitor right now. I don't know. It's a little different. Matt is cooler than you. Oh, you know what? He's been around for a lot longer. I'll take that. He's had more time to establish his cred. Seems like you just need the right people to hop into your show, like your partner. Yeah, Lamau. I am considering like nudging him again and being like, let's do like a test pilot episode of a podcast. But, he's like not really huge about taking pictures or being on camera and stuff, so probably it would be a non-camera kind of podcast. We'll see. But like the Aragon show is still in the workshop, so we want to talk about that. Aragon is my favorite book series. We're still getting some comments on my show with Matt from October, which is interesting. Like from 2 hours ago, someone watched that show from October and commented on it. Wasn't your partner going to do some handyman type segments at one point? I don't remember talking about that. I do not recall. I don't think so. I would prefer to wear a mask, but that gets me dizzy and falling sooner than I'd like. I don't know. Like maybe I just like still have good lung function and I should be grateful for that. Like sometimes it's too hot and I did catch COVID because I was not wearing a mask outdoors at the Renaissance Festival in 2024. And like I made that trade off and then I decided like it's not worth it. I would rather just like, well, it was the last year I was going to be working there. So in the future if I go to the Renaissance Festival, I'm going to be wearing a mask the whole time. But I guess I don't know what makes it so that somebody can't wear one. But there are other things you could be doing. Like, I mean, there are like the full face covering masks, but that's hard if you're like, you know, just got a house, like just got housing. Um or there's like betadine nasal spray and the probiotic that you can let dissolve in your mouth, Streptococcus salivarius K12. Like there are things that you can be doing to reduce the risk, but like everybody who can wear a mask should be. Absolutely, without question. And partially because there are some people who medically can't wear a mask, like because they have poor lung function or whatever issue it is. Couldn't wear a face mask for a couple months post surgery. Honestly, that's something that does kind of scare me because I want to have septoplasty this year. Like I want to have my nose corrected and there is a possibility that I won't be able to wear a mask. And so I'm like a little bit freaked out by that. I do have some N95 masks that are like sticky and I bought them because you can put them over just your nose. If you wanted to get like dental care, you can just like stick it to your face like this and you won't, you can just breathe through your nose. But yeah, I'm like, how can I guarantee if I have to go under general anesthesia that they roll me out of the surgical suite and like I need them to put something on my face. Like I'm going to have to trust some nurse to do it. Like can I get that in writing? Can I get a contract where it's like as soon as you wheel me out of the surgical suite, you put the fucking thing on my face? Like I don't know. If it requires deep work to fix like up here in my nose, then I just don't know what I'm going to do for a couple months. But the trade-off is breathing for the rest of my life versus maybe getting COVID and setting my entire rest of my disability behind for the rest of my life, or maybe developing ME/CFS. Like it's not a fun trade-off. So I'm going to have to think about that a lot more between now and then. Yeah, Alice Wong couldn't wear a mask because of her ventilator. Yeah. Well, I'm hungry and I need to get that food taken in my body before I have to get started with the After Dark show here in about like 45 minutes. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you very much for all of your condolences and the donations, which are helping me to pay for my cat's cremation. That's totally covered. And yeah, I'm as far as I have the plans right now, the week is going to go by normally. I will see you on Christmas Eve, unless something crazy happens between now and then. And, yeah. Love. Love to you. Love to your people. Happy solstice. Stay warm. Hug somebody you care about. Maybe that person's you. Maybe you need to give yourself a hug. And take it easy this week, all right? Goodbye.